Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. Today I'm gonna do a video sharing all the makeup that I've been trying to use up, or like my project pan, and we're gonna do a full face of makeup with those products so I can show you how I've been working those into my routine and the types of looks that I'm creating. And just a side note, please excuse my hair. I'm just at a point where I don't know if I should cut it. I just don't know what to do with it. It's just bothering me. And I just felt like keeping it up today, and it is what it is, so let's get started. And the eye bags are awful this morning. Oh my goodness. All right, so for foundation, I have a couple that I've been trying to use up that I've been alternating. It's the Makeup Forever foundation stick. I love this foundation. It is so good for just like blurring everything. It works really good in photography and even on film. Just makes your skin look so nice and hydrated. And I like that it's full coverage, and I like that it's a very quick application and it's not messy. So this is definitely my favorite stick foundation. It is one that I will continue to purchase over and over. But with the summer coming, these are more of like my winter shades. So I want to continue to use them up, and specifically the shade Y325. Literally have like none left. So I'm gonna use whatever is left of that. And then I'm gonna go in with the Y245, which I have a little bit more. I really try and alternate my foundations like a ton. So I'm finding that I have a lot that are like almost used up or half used up, and then I go on to like a newer one. So I'm really trying to make it a point to use up first what I have before going out and buying more. So literally it's like down to the bottom on this. If I can even get it, I might have to take a foundation brush. And like I've said, I really like this foundation, but the smell, there's just something funky about it. It definitely goes away, but it is such a good foundation, especially if you have drier skin, because it's super moisturizing. I find that it works better if you blend it with like a flat foundation brush as opposed to a, let me grab it, I guess dome type of brush. I like the way it blends with this one. And my skin is a little bit on the drier side right now, just because I did do my retin-A treatment, or my, what is it called? It starts with a T, I'm drawing a blank. Trinitoin, or however you pronounce it. I did that a couple days ago, and I always find that it starts to peel like several days later. But it's not as bad, it's definitely getting better. So I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job with concealers this year. I haven't bought as much. I only have like 3 kinds, which is great. And I'm really trying to do like, you know, the 1 in, 1 out rule, and really use what I have first before going out and getting tempted to buy more. The concealer I've been trying to get through is the e.l.f. This is the Hydrating Camo Concealer. I really like this stuff. This shade is not perfect for me. That's kind of one of the reasons why I've been trying to use it up. You can see there's not much left at all. And I need to find a different shade. This one pulls like very peachy, very orange on me, which I know is not gonna work good at all with a little bit of a tan. So I'm just trying to get through this one. It does work, but I need to find a different color. And I have some other concealers that I started to use and reach for. And I'm trying to just keep, you know, the ones in my everyday makeup drawer, just to remind myself to use them before the summer comes and it's not my shade, and then by the fall the makeup will be bad and expired. So for powder, I feel like I have way too many powder products at the moment. But this one is really nice. It's the Fit Me Set and Smooth. I really like it. It is the shade, what is it? It's the shade Classic Ivory, which is super bright. Definitely more of like a winter shade or a fall shade. It's definitely going on like a year old. So I'm trying to use it up as much as possible now, because my goal is to use things before they expire, not to buy a bunch of stuff and then just hang on to it. It's super challenging, but I feel like I've been doing a really good job. This past year, I haven't bought as much makeup, or as nearly as much makeup, which is great. So for bronzer, I hesitate to try to work towards using up like bronzers and blushes, because it's nearly impossible unless you're using the same one and you're like digging in it every single day. For me, that's just not realistic. But this one, I've been going at it for about a year. I'm not sure if you can tell on camera that there is actually a dent in there. I'll try to insert like a picture, but you can definitely see there's like a divot right there in the center. I've been cracking at this one a ton, and it's a really, really pretty color. It's called Dolce. I like the color. The shade Glow, it's like the same exact baked bronzer, but it's in the shade Glow, is a little bit better for me for the summertime. So that's one that I gravitate towards using more in the summertime. But I've been really trying to crack at this one. We're getting at that 1 to 2 year mark, and I'm trying to really show some more love towards some of this stuff that I've been kind of moving away from and using other things. It's like I'm talking about these products like they have feelings. Like I feel like they have feelings, and I'm hurting their feelings if I don't use them. Does anyone else feel like that? It's so crazy. There's like a guilt associated if you don't use them or if you declutter them. It makes you feel like guilty. I didn't show you enough love. For blush, this is another one that is good. I like it. It's not my absolute favorite, but I am trying to show it a little bit more attention. And this is the MAC in the shade Melba. It's perfect for like a very neutral, everyday type of look. It's not my favorite blush at the moment, so it's not one that I've been using a ton, but I have been trying to make it a point to use more. Would I repurchase it again? I would, but I mean, for the price, there's other blushes that I like more at that price. And I feel like it's a really good blush that works for all seasons. So it's not just like a summer blush or a winter blush. I definitely bought a couple recent blushes that are more meant or geared towards the summer, like glowy, peachy, bronzy skin, where this one, you can definitely wear it at any point in the year. There's no shimmer to it. It's a really good blush like that. Moving on to highlight, doing the Ofra Highlight. This is in the shade Rodeo Drive. I feel like it's getting a couple years old, which is like at that point where I start to reevaluate, okay, how long have I had this in my collection? Is it getting gross? Speaking of highlight, I am so upset about Becca because some of my favorite highlights, blushes, I like the Becca Champagne Pop. I like the Becca blush. It's like that mineralized blush in the shade Songbird. I did order a backup of each, but I'm hoping that that formula maybe gets bought out by someone else. I don't know how all that works or if that's even possible, because obviously there's a patent on the formula. I don't know how any of that works, but those blushes, those formulas, how nice they are. I don't know if I'm gonna find anything that I like as much on my skin, texture, all that thing as the Becca highlights. I do think that the Ofra and Rodeo Drive is similar to Champagne Pop, but it's just a little bit more powdery. I don't know how to explain it, and it's not as peachy. So it's just not a like for like. So for eyeshadow is a palette that I got probably couple years ago now, so it's definitely getting old, and I've been really trying to use it more. And this shade up top right here, it is the shade Twinkle, and it reminds me of the ColourPop Super Shock shadows. I'm not sure if it's the same like formula that they had pressed in the pan, but it's very similar to the shade Weenie. I'm not sure if it was a Kathleen Lights collab or not, but there was Weenie and Lala, and I would say if you mix those two together, you would get this shade right here, and it is awesome. And since I got through Weenie and I only have Lala left, which is another one I've been trying to use because it is getting very old, it's time to let it go, but sadly they don't make it anymore. And I'm trying to find a color that's similar, but I haven't found anything that is quite that. If you know of anything, let me know down below, because they are some of my favorite, just like one and done quick shadows. So for the transition area, I'm gonna use these two shades up top. All right, I'm gonna take that shade Shooting Star. I'm gonna put it all over my lid and just blend it into the crease where I put the other shadow down. It is such a pretty, pretty color. I wish ColourPop had this exact shade in a Super Shock shadow. Maybe they do, I just haven't found it. Such an easy, like, quick look that you could wear every day. And I'm gonna blend this guy in under my brow bone. And it's about that time for me to do a bathroom, like makeup, beauty product, that kind of thing, declutter, because I feel like I have a bunch of stuff that has either gotten old or that I'm not really like loving anymore that needs to go. I have way too many mascaras open at one time. That's another thing that I'm trying to be better about, but I don't know what happens. I just collect them so quickly. The one that I added to my project pan is one that I forgot about because all my other mascaras were in there and I forgot how good this one was. And I find that when you first open it, it doesn't perform as well. And then as it kind of dries down, it works really, really well. And I actually really, really like this mascara. And this is the It Cosmetics Superhero. There are a couple of, I think, dupes at the drugstore that work just as well. I think that the Essence mascara works really well. It's very comparable, like the original green one, not the waterproof. But I have a hard time spending more than like $10 on mascaras for me because I find that ones at the drugstore do perform as well for me as the high-end ones. Especially L'Oreal, Maybelline, their mascaras are just above and beyond, and I'm more inclined to buy that than to spend extra money on a product just for like name brand or to say I have some expensive mascara, if that makes sense. But this is just, it's such a nice mascara, it really is. It's not that it's not worth it, but I think that if you can get it on sale, that's the way to go. I got a few products in the rotation for lip products that I've been trying to use up. And one of them is this Gigi Hadid. She did a collaboration with Maybelline and it's a really, really nice color. It is called Tora. They don't make it anymore, but it's a really pretty color. I don't have that much left, but I would like to use it up. Bear with my lips, they're disgustingly chapped. I've been like bathing in Aquaphor and nothing is working. It's such a like a creamy, weird type of a formula, but like a good weird. I don't know how to describe it. I have this liquid catsuit in Nudist Peach that I have been trying to use more. It's such a pretty color, but I find that the formula definitely dries down. It's like a perfect spring and summer shade. I think that this is one of the best drugstore priced liquid lips. It definitely does dry down, but it's not super, super drying. And for me, whenever I do wear a liquid lip anymore, I always put like a gloss over it because I am just not into that like dried, crackly, feel like I can't move my mouth type of lip. I just can't work with that. And one of my favorites to use on top is this Revlon. This is the Ultra HD lip polish. This color is just not one that I've been grabbing a lot for, which is part of the reason why I chose to add it in. The other one in Birthday Suit I grab for all the time, but this is literally like brand new and I've only reached for it a couple of times. So I've been trying to think of like different looks and things that I could do so I could incorporate using that color. I feel like it just doesn't look that great on my skin tone or just on me. And it's more of like a spring and summer shade, but I think it looks really nice with this eye look and like the peach colored vibe makeup. So this is the full look with makeup products that I'm trying to use more of. Hopefully this motivated you guys to look in your collection and see what you need to start using more of before it expires. And also a good reminder to use what you have before going out and buying new. I know it's super hard. I feel like I've been doing much better. I treat myself like every few months, but I try to follow that one in, one out rule in general as much as I can. And also try to like switch up the looks I do with the makeup that I already have, shop my stash, all that kind of thing. So I'll put my playlist up above for these types of videos like shop my stash, project pan, decluttering, all that kind of thing if you want to check it out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.